Good day and welcome to another interesting episode of your program, Infrastructure Weekly. On today's episode of the program, we will be taking you to project sites in the power, works and housing sector in Lagos, Ogun and Oyo State, and also in Taraba State. Join us after this break for more on the program.
Coming together of opportunities, and this is what
infrastructure is the backbone of development, which explains the Buhari government's effort at bridging the facility gap. Infrastructure Weekly is a television package designed to bring you latest information on hundreds of development projects going on in various sectors all over the nation.
There is no state in Nigeria today where you will not see our contractors busy at work.
Power generation, rural electrification, road rehabilitations, national housing scheme, construction of roads and rail lines across the country, you name it.
We are now able to produce 7,000 megawatt of power. That is no longer debatable.
Infrastructure Weekly is Nigerians working together for a better Nigeria. So be better informed to take better informed decisions. Watch Infrastructure Weekly, showing on Channels Television Thursdays 2:30 p.m., NTA Network Wednesdays 5 p.m., and QTD News Fridays at 8 p.m. Infrastructure Weekly, making development known.
The revamp of the power sector, according to experts, is a critical ingredient in restoring the nation's industrial sector, with many seeing power as a major sticking point in the development of the nation's economy and its diversification. Many artisans like battery chargers, welders, panel beaters, barbers and others have been thrown out of business by the problems that have bedeviled the sector for some time. Was the decision of the federal government to give dedicated electricity to some industrial clusters like Ariaria Main Market in Aba, the Sabongeri Market in Kano, and the Sura Shopping Complex in Lagos applauded by Nigerians? The federal government is not resting on its oars. Lagos Regional General Manager Transmission of the Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN), Jeffrey Nwokoye, who spoke to Infrastructure Weekly, said the process of expansion of the nation's transmission grid is an ongoing process. He added that a lot is being done by the company to achieve the objectives set for it by the federal government.
We have a program of rehabilitation and expansion of our transmission network. Like I told you, we have 5 sub-regions under Lagos region. So for us to be able to supply this power to the people that need it, to the industries that need it, we have a lot of programs. And those programs range from aggressive maintenance of what we have already. We have to maintain. I so much believe, our company so much believe that maintenance is key, because you cannot talk of sustainable development without real maintenance, and that is where we have some problems in the country, because one of the major challenges we have is poor maintenance culture. You see, if, for instance, two parents come together and give birth to a child, and they don't take care, maintain that child, the child dies, and they struggle again, give birth to another child, and without maintenance the child dies. One day the parents will get old and also die. That will be the end. If they give birth to a child and maintain the child, and then that child grows up, matures, give birth to another, the growth rate will be sustained. That is what I understand by sustainable development. That will be development. So we have this in mind, and that is what makes us to actually, first of all, make sure that we maintain what we have already.
Staying on the issue of power, the federal government has continued with the expansion project of the national grid with the expansion of the capacity of the Ejigbo transmission station from 120 MVA to 300 MVA, as well as close the 132 by 133 kVA loop in supply to the station and enhance stability in supply to Ejigbo and other parts of Lagos. Infrastructure Weekly visited the station. Join us on the voyage.
The Transmission Company of Nigeria says it will continue to work on the mandate given to it by the federal government to deliver on the expansion, rehabilitation and repairs of its equipment to meet the nation's electricity needs. The company said this is in line with the 100 project pledge made by the Minister of Power, Works and Housing at the beginning of the year, which has seen the commissioning of power projects in places such as Odogunyo, Yola, Damaturu, Aba and several other parts of Nigeria. It also said it is in the process of expanding its transmission station in Ejigbo, where the former capacity is 120 MVA to 300 MVA. Station Supervisor John Adejanyo said this will greatly enhance capacity and help in ensuring better supply to the area covered by the transmission substation.
The government have really tried to, in this place of expansion of the station, so that people, the community, will enjoy uninterrupted power supply. For example, like I've said earlier, this is Ejigbo TS. Before, the capacity of this station was 120 capacity. That's 120 megawatt capacity. But now 120 MVA capacity before. But now, if you see what is in place now, this is 100 MVA transformer. We call it T1 100 MVA. We have a T2 100 MVA. They are new transformer put in place by government by this present dispensation. So to replace, formerly the T1 was a 30 MVA transformer before, being replaced by 100 MVA transformer now. Likewise, T2 was a 30 MVA transformer before, now replaced with a 100 MVA transformer. So at present, we have Mobitra over there to relieve, so that people in the process of the installation of this new transformer, people will not suffer without a supply. So that was why they brought in that mobile transformer. It's a 40 MVA Mobitra because it's mobile. So in order to relieve this particular project. So before it was a 120 MVA capacity. So now with this present situation, we have a 300 MVA capacity in the station now.
Works is currently on at the station, with workers doing around-the-clock extensive work to ensure that set targets are met. The station supervisor said the work is designed to achieve a new level of stability and power supply to the people of the coverage area. He described the scope of work currently going on at the station.
You see, you can even see 120 from 300. You know, the expansion is just too much. Meaning that people in this area, this station, this Ejigbo TS, is feeding up to Igando. It's feeding International Airport. It's feeding Okeafa, Injection Substation, Jakande Gate, up to Sele, part of Sele Express, then part of Isolo, then Idimu. So like that one, if people they be enjoying like maybe 5 hours supply in a day. Now I want to tell you, don't let me say 24 hours in a day. Let's say minimum of 20 hours in a day with this capacity on ground that government are put in place in Transmission Company of Nigeria.
The works, according to him, will also ensure that the station becomes 330/132 kVA substation, thereby enhancing power supply to the people in the Lagos region and by extension, the nation.
In fact, they've changed so many equipment, like our circuit breaker, like this one now. You know, something that will withstand the 100 MV will be higher in rating than the one that will withstand 30 MV. If you look at this circuit breaker now, is a secondary circuit breaker. Likewise, primary circuit breaker, they've changed them. Likewise, the isolator, if you look at it now, from this side downward, that's the incomer. This is the outgoing. They've changed everything, like our GT, giving us a station supply. They've replaced it. Likewise, that one. So all these ones, CT, isolators, breakers, up to this level, they've changed everything in order to conform with the present capacity.
Meantime, the Transmission Company of Nigeria, as part of effort aimed at expanding the national grid, has energized the brand new 330 by 132 kVA transmission substation in Damaturu, Yobe State. In a release signed by the General Manager, Public Affairs of the company, the newly energized substation is expected to enhance power supply to Boniyadi, Gaidam, Damaturu and other parts of the northeast. So much for the power sector. We go to roads after this timeout. Stay with us.
London, New York or Lagos, business or holiday, home or office, you can now carry out your tax transactions from anywhere in the world. You can now file all your tax returns, pay online, get a receipt and even process your tax clearance certificate from anywhere in the world online and in real time. All you need to do is log on to www.firs.gov.ng and click on e-services and be introduced to the world of innovation, convenience and transparency from the FIRS. You can also pay stamp duty as you register a new company with the CAC or for other transactions that require stamp duty payment online. You can also file your withholding tax returns and determine the withholding tax deducted from you is in government covers so that you can get your receipt within 45 days as long as the deduction has been remitted. Yes, all of this and more online at www.firs.gov.ng/e-services. FIRS, making tax administration as easy as ABC. Please note that all FIRS services are free of charge. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service. It pays to pay your tax.
If you are just joining us, the program is Infrastructure Weekly, where we x-ray the achievements of the Muhammadu Buhari administration in the area of infrastructure development. For participation, comments and feedback, get in touch on Facebook at facebook.com/Infrastructure Weekly and on Twitter at infra_weekly. In the road sector, we'll take you to the Shagamu-Ijebode Ajibandele Ovosuore Benin Road, which serves as a link between the southwest, the southeast and the south-south parts of Nigeria. This road at the time became the euphemism for failed infrastructure in Nigeria, with many travelers becoming permanently disabled, dead or victims of the men of the underworld due to the legendary failed portions of the road. We'll present to you this update on the state of work done so far to put the road back in shape, with the Bandele Shagamu-Ijebode section now the outstanding part of a road that used to claim lives, property and even became a haven for armed robbers.
A drive through the Benin-Ore road used to be a pleasant experience for users of the road, but over time, the 225-kilometer stretch of road became a nightmare to travel on. The stories of users' experience were the stuff of legends. But since the return of democracy, the road has also become a byword for alleged diversion of public funds with no appreciable impact on the state of the road. The situation was so bad that the former Minister of Works reportedly cried on a visit to see the state of things firsthand. But today, after several false starts, the road is seeing the attention it deserved, with the reconstruction and rehabilitation now in its fourth phase.
The phase section will be reconstructed and the stable section will be overlaid with the asphalt. And the kind of structure that we are using is different from the former structure design that they used in the initial stage of this road. The reconstruction means that we are going to reconstruct the phase section. We cut the road to almost 0.7 meter down. Then you build it up with a boulder. Then we lay a macadam.
The project, according to the official of the ministry, will be completed within the 3 years after its initial failure to take off due to non-funding when it was initially awarded in 2014.
The total length of phase 4 is 94.4 kilometers. The project duration is 4 years. The actual work really started when this administration came in, that is 2016. It was awarded 2014, but the real work started in 2016. We are now 18% completion.
He assured Nigerians that the project will be delivered with world-class facilities that will aid in creating a sustainable economic development for all the regions through linkages and reduction of travel time.
In terms of the asphalt, initially we have binder, which is 60. We have wearing, which is 40. But now we have macadam, which is almost 20. Then we have binder, we have wearing. So which there is a difference between the thickness now. We have they have introduced the asphalt of macadam to prevent a premature failure.
You can get in touch with us on any of the social media handles showing on your screen for comment, feedback and inquiries. We will be back with the housing sector after this break. Stay with us.
Coming together of opportunity, and this is what
Infrastructure is the backbone of development, which explains the Buhari government's effort at bridging the facility gap. Infrastructure Weekly is a television package designed to bring you latest information on hundreds of development projects going on in various sectors all over the nation.
there is no state in Nigeria today where you will not see our contractors busy at work.
Power generation, rural electrification, road rehabilitations, national housing scheme, construction of roads and rail lines across the country, you name it.
We are now able to produce 7,000 megawatt of power. That is no longer debatable.
Infrastructure Weekly is Nigerians working together for a better Nigeria. So be better informed to take better informed decisions. Watch Infrastructure Weekly, showing on Channels Television, Thursdays 2:30 p.m., NTA Network Wednesdays 5 p.m., and QTD News Fridays at 8 p.m. Infrastructure Weekly, making development known.
We hit the home straight today with a national housing program with a visit to the site in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where work has, according to the team leader, Mosomola Odusonya, reached over 70% completion, with some of the houses now ready for occupation. He, however, added that some of the contractors on site are not performing as expected because they did not resume to site at the same time. He expressed optimism that most of the houses will be completed by the end of the year.
The National Housing Project site in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, is now at 75% completion, according to the project team leader, Mosomola Odusonya, who also dabbles as a director of architectural services in the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing. The project, which was started in 2016, like its counterparts in 33 other states across the country, has a variety of houses such as 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, condominium and a block of flats. While most of the 2 and 3 bedroom apartments are ready and slated for pre-handover inspections, others are at various stages of completion.
At least 75% completion. We are doing let me just break them down. For the 3 bedrooms, we are doing 10 blocks. Out of the 10 blocks, only 2 blocks are standing. For the 2 bedrooms, we are doing 20 blocks. Out of the 20 blocks, they are at various stages of completion, but at least 2 of them have achieved painting.
He added that other parts of the project will soon be ready with rigorous supervision and insistence and adherence to standards. He assured that when the houses are ready for occupation by the owners, they will have cause to thank the federal government for a well-executed project.
Some are in the middle of the work. They have commenced on their finishes. It's just the internal fixtures and painting that remains.
Other associated infrastructure also gradually been made ready with the central water system, electrification project and the access road are all ongoing.
On a final note, the National Housing Program has been lauded again as a means of employment and economic diversification by state who have some of the sites across the country. Jigawa State Governor Abubakar Badaru also described the program as a game changer.
About 500 Nigerians have been employed in Jigawa State through the 2016 National Housing Program under the present administration. These persons include professionals, laborers, artisans, food vendors, sachet water and soft drink sellers, as well as commercial motorcyclists who are making money out of the project. Others are being employed by some contractors as security men, while cart operators are not left behind. They are sometimes engaged to transport sharp sand and other goods to the site.
We have a committee already that is working to price the final costs. As I have said, this is a pilot phase of the National Housing Project. Pilot in the sense that we want to test whether people will accept what we have designed. So these designs are the product of the consultations we have made with people, the advice we have received from architects from different parts of the country. We want to test whether also people can afford it. So we have built them in different capacities. So we've gone to the 1-bedroom units, we've come to the 2-bedroom units, and we have ended up in the 3-bedroom units. Now what remains is to finish the infrastructure. All of the internal electrical fittings, as you can see, bulbs and all of that are in many of them. So what remains now is to do the infrastructure, the water supply, the power supply, the internal road network. When we finish that, that is when you will then know how much the entire building costs, how much it costs for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom, and then we put it out. So by the time that committee finishes its work, we will certainly make public what our quantifications are in terms of cost and in terms of price.
The National Housing Project in Jigawa State has reached 80% completion. It involves 78 housing units comprising of 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom semi-detached bungalows.
You know, of course, that the change that we must also have is the change that moves people away from buying houses as if they were going to buy fish in the market. You just pay for everything at once. That's not how it works in other societies. Your payment period is spread over some time, usually your working life. So that is really what then speaks to affordability. So affordability is not just how much it costs. How will I pay? So housing is not just building here, it's also providing access to funding through the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. And they're providing mortgages because I see their reports every month. So workers who are contributing to the National Housing Fund have something to now look forward to, because we are going to create a line of supply of houses and we're going to create a line of access to credit. The taste of the pudding is in the eating. If you come inside, you will see that we have tried to improve the quality, because we build it for people who are lower in income. Doesn't mean that it has to be badly built. This is the quality of life. When President Buhari said in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan that he will invest in the Nigerian people, this is part of what it means. That it will give you a quality of life that lifts you up. So because it's for low-income people, doesn't mean it has to be badly built. And you will see me every time I'm inspecting, I'm asking my team, we must change the standard.
The contractors are doing an excellent job because they are being closely supervised by the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing. This is because the federal government will not accept any job that is of poor quality or fails to meet the specifications for the Nigerian people.
The housing project, as you have heard, is going smoothly, and the minister just asked for more land, so they will do more. So I guarantee you will have all the land you want. And we thank you for the project and considering us among the states that you want to increase the level of the project. We thank you.
These houses are not only for civil servants, but for all Nigerians, because everyone has the right to housing or shelter.
That is all on this week's episode of the program. Join us again next week for another interesting presentation of Infrastructure Weekly. Until then, stay true to our nation, Nigeria, by protecting public utilities and taking ownership of them. Thanks so much for watching. I am Abosedi Omowi. Bye for now.